30 buys me like me too. All right, let's get in there. So let's take a look here. Let's see what the market's setting up for us. We're gonna start a little bit higher time frame, and then we're gonna work our way down. So let's just get a big picture look here real quick. Quick look on the monthly. Last month, man, the swings on here. Talked about the swings working out, but what's up, Vaughn? Kaz, Kevin, got the boy Steven plugging in today. The day off, yeah. So we got that liquidity and rebalancing here. Talked about how this could be a potential low. Definitely ended up playing out. I didn't swing this. Unfortunately, but I mean, just great movement since April 21st. So basically the last whole month, we've seen the market absolutely go on a rampage. So can we get the market back to these 38,750 levels? I think at some point. I don't know if it's going to be soon though. And you guys have noticed in the past, you'll see the market just absolutely skyrocket, and then you'll partially rebalance, and then that's all it was. So liquidity is definitely a target, and this though at some point in time we might get here, but we'll see. We're definitely seeing a massive push, and even on the smaller time frames we don't have any shifts in momentum. So no breaks of structure so far. We're just kind of chilling. Rainy days and shy. Yeah, for sure. So on the daily, let's zoom in here. We did finally get to the peak on Dow. I don't know how many of you guys were caught a sell here. I briefly talked about this yesterday, but we did have the sweep of the highs here March 26th, so roughly 2 months ago, before the market, mitigated this, and then we saw a nice reaction. Short-lived though. Despite all that, pretty short-lived. And right now, we're just cementing a 4-hour bullish structure. So we saw this previous high here. Estructuras alcistas, bajos alcistas, continuaciones. So we're sitting in a good 4-hour range. Market's still pushing really nicely. And here, we were about 11 and a half minutes away from New York Open. So we'll wait and get the market to see if we can continue to rally. This looks like it's going to be a reaccumulation, not so much a distribution, and I'll explain why here in a second. We do have 4-hour we have consolidation here from Thursday, Friday, and Monday. So at some point, I think we'll get back here. As of right now, I don't have enough proof to go looking for swing sells. So let's keep moving on. Now, Dow made a very interesting movement here in the 1 hour. We were basically building up liquidity here. We had retail buying over and over again from end of Monday session during London. And then we see this sweep right here. Big push down, get below these lows. And we immediately go back to making higher highs. So as you get more detail here. All right. So we see a very, very nice push below all of this. Sweeping these lows just in general. So this clears London session lows. We clear end of New York session as well. So nicely. We end up trading above here for a few hours. And now we're, quick drop, little rebalance, back up we go. Sería bueno en español. Yeah, tienes razón. Captura de liquidez, altos más altos. Y de aquí, falta que llene imbalance, mitigación por esta zona para poder ver aquí reacción. Entonces, esta es la compra que estoy esperando por ahora en comparación a NASDAQ y todo. Esta es la compra que espero. So, because we had already a rebalance over here, the market, in my opinion, looks pretty efficient. So making higher highs today makes sense to me. So we already rebalanced here. We haven't quite tapped into this little order block here, but I think we can continue. And especially, hey, Mark, are you opening any coaching in the near future? That's a good question for you. So, yes, it'll only be an annual program, and you will have to apply. Just because, transparently, guys, like, I want to make sure you're just in the right place financially and you have the right expectations for trading. So if it just doesn't make sense and it's going to be a stressor than it is something useful, then you may not qualify. There's certain standards that we're looking for. Just because in the past, working with the tons of people, we just don't want the hype type of. We're not here to just. There's no quick money cash grab. Like, we just want to work with people who are serious. So yes, if that's something you're interested in, I haven't publicly opened this yet. But in the Tritopia exchange, there is an application section there. So here, I'll pull it up for you since you've asked so kindly here. I'll pull that up for you in a bit. All right, I'll focus on the charts first. We'll get back to that in a little bit. So let's dive into here. Oh, also, by the way, yesterday, the winner of the funded account was actually Stanley Solorzano. Stanley Solorzano, si estás aquí, if you're here, you won the 50K funded. Ganaste el fondeo de 50,000. Let me know. If it's not claimed today, then the next winner of that was Lonzo. So you guys let me know. All right. So we'll get back to that. But who did I just say your name was? Solorzano or something like that. Stanley Solorzano. All right. And if y'all know him, let him know. Okay. So beyond that, looking at this here, we've already reacted and rejected. We've mitigated. You can see here the big push to the upside was huge move there. So 183 points. Yesterday we get to this zone and then we see that reversal. So see that drop here over 200. So we already saw the exchange of money here. And that leads us to really a very efficient market. So if this is going to go, there's a good chance that this could just absolutely rip again. So that's why I do like buys, and I am open to higher highs on holding this buy today. Is the sovereign community still open? Yeah, so the Sovereign Syndicate is the annual program. We ran a legacy offer for people that have just been with me for a really long time, and those are now closed, so those were private invites. And then for the first 100 people that joined the free community, when I made my post, I said the first 100 is going to get exclusive access. So all of you guys got in. Those are closed, though. But is the syndicate open? I mean, I guess right now this is me telling you that it can be open. I just want to make sure that I get the group that we already got in a good start, since this is the first time I'm doing an annual program. So apply, guys, and then we'll schedule something. But Nance, can you drop the link to the free community in the chat, please? All right. So yeah, Dow is crashing. No, well, this is not crashing. You're wildin'. But okay, this is it. Las compras aquí están bien. And then from here, we have NQ. So NQ, to say this is crashing, I think is definitely, it dropped like 15 points or something. So I don't think it's crashing. But I would love this to happen. I would love to see NQ sweep this liquidity. So let's take a look at NASDAQ here. NASDAQ could clear below these lows, maybe below this London session, Asian session overlap low. and then maybe even clearing some of Monday sessions New York post New York Open. So maybe we see a big push down into here, and then we can see a rally. A move like that, I think, will set up Dow really well. So I'm going to make sure we can hear our alerts here. And then let's go ahead and do that here. All right, so we got here. The free community, guys, is linked above. Enjoy that 50K. There will be more opportunities for sure. All right, cool. So going from here, I'm going to have the side-by-side as usual here in a second, so we can kind of see how NASDAQ's moving, see how Dow Jones is moving as well. But as we're looking at S&P 500, S&P 500 here is also basically making a lot of sideways movement, a lot of consolidation. This is what's going to lure in liquidity. So even with S&P, I think we're going to get a nice sweep to the downside. And at the same time, all of this really sets up for plays down here as well. So worst case scenario, something that could happen there. Again, this is a possibility. We could see one of two situations. Either the market could reject here, play into this zone and then rally, or we may get a reversal, a rejection. Maybe we clear this, something like that. And then we might want to play out of here. So we could see something like this in the future as well. So either or could happen. How did you find the lagging indice in this case? I've usually find by looking at 3 indices overall trend and seeing who is most lagging. In this case, you're just looking at price action. Price action is pretty simple right now. Dow is on the price action, like current price action, is dropping at a way lighter pace compared to NASDAQ. Like, we'll split screen right now. So look at this here. This is actually playing out really well. This is exactly how we wanted to see this. We're seeing NASDAQ liquidate. Get below those lows. This is what we wanted to see. All right. And from here, as soon as it starts hitting our zone, we'll be able to pull the trigger on some buys. So this, I think we're going to get a pretty good setup here. Let's see. Yeah, depending on obviously what your risk is, but whether you're trading YM or MYM, if you're trading micros or minis, it looks rather enticing. So I'm going to be throwing probably around 6 contracts at this one. Let's see. Yep, that's what it looks like. About 6. And then my entry is going to be around 42,790. And then right now it's instantly mitigating, guys. Look at this. Instantly reacting. That first pump here, let's see here. We have to move fast. And make sure you're looking at your own screen. 44 points to the downside. For looking at this is going to be about 36 already. So this should be ripping from here. There it is. So we saw the liquidity sweep. You see Dow get to the zone, and then now it's reacting. So if this goes and then breaks above and sweeps liquidity, which it's doing right here. Right here you have liquidity. Now at this point, if you took this position, move your stops to your entry. That's what I would do. Move your stop to your entry here. This just tapped 42,800 before rejecting, about 75-point reaction already. So if you did take this position, this was like roughly under 40-point stop. So you should be sitting at right around a 2R. If you took this, I've been plagued by this recently, but another order from you missed. Playing out of the open. So it is what it is. Now, what we could end up also seeing anyways is we may end up seeing the market give us higher highs. And if we can get some and keep demand up here, then we could get a secondary opportunity for an entry here anyways. So right now, I think a very, very high probability exit would just be letting this take out the highs and then taking your profits just anywhere, literally anywhere in here. So 42,900 and above, great place to take some profits. Right now we're seeing the market, obviously Dow was the winner for the day. So right in here, you're already starting to see more sellers kind of get lured in and see how it goes from this point moving forward. Did anyone take this entry? Anyone here? I already take your profit too. Your natural gas zone hit crazy. I have to. I didn't get my alert for it. Let's see. Really? Dude, that's crazy. So as of right now, this is how we're kind of perceiving the market. We saw the market dip down to here. All right, so you can see the market liquidate, mitigate, and now start to react. A quick push to the downside here. So now we're seeing retail sellers get lured in again, that good old break and retest kind of vibe. If you look at NQ already did a good job liquidating. It lured in with this break and retest right there. But look at price action. NASDAQ now is holding it down really well. Price action is very strong. It looks like NASDAQ might be looking to blow up from here. So you might actually be in position to take a buy on NAS. So buys on NAS, and this is a different type of trade. But this is basically liquidity sweep. Maybe it's actually more aligned with Kevin's usual trading style, which is a inverted fair value gap. But now that it liquidated and we saw basically luring in sellers one more time, rebalancing, I think the market could rip. And look at how much more bullish NASDAQ is relative to Dow. So that price action has successfully flipped. I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens here. But with Dow over here, I would say this over here, make sure you're protected your money. All right? Make sure you've protected your money there with Dow. Básicamente, chicos, asegúrense que ya protegieron su capital con Dow Jones. All right. So from here, starting to see Dow. Look at this. Dow now holding the structure pretty well. So this is the break, the retest, lures in sellers one more time. Could this be the exhaustion, max pain for buyers, and then see it push higher? Now, usually with something like this, what you want to see is you want to see that shift in volume for sure. But the way I'm looking at this, I think we can see this thing run. So here we have Dow. So like let's say, for example, taking a position here on Dow. This is the what I call a shakeout setup. It's a tighter stop, about 35 points. But if it runs, it could definitely take out these positions here. For those of you that use volume, that could be another tool for you as well. So let's see what happens. Let's see how it goes. Now, in regards to your stop, you want to make sure you could either give yourself a little bit of breathing room if that's going to be the case, or you just kind of let it ride. But I wouldn't have a stop below, beyond this low over here. And look at price action right now. NASDAQ, let's see here. NASDAQ at the moment doing a good job of clearing these lows here. All right. So this initial movement, right? Why did we see the market push down to here to kick things off? This move was designed to clear out these London session lows. That was the intention. That was the design of this move. So now that that's happened, the other areas in which we could see the market maybe want to push below could be to get below all of this over here. All right, that would be the next thing. So I've been keeping an eye out on just the overall target is going to be essential here. Big thing that we're seeing is how NAS pushes a little bit lower. Now we're starting to see a shift to the upside in momentum. So again, NASDAQ and Dow, they're not the easiest right now in price action, where we're seeing, let me go ahead and delete this, where we're seeing the market just show us, okay, cool, Dow is leading the pack and it's just the most bullish. They're kind of just fighting back and forth on where the market could go. So if you're trying to figure out, okay, do I want to buy here? Do I want to look for sells here? Let the market give you absolute, complete new structure. If at this point you don't know what to do and you don't want to be involved, let the market show you, right, exactly what it wants. So right now, when we see price work its way down here with indices, right, we're seeing this work its way further and further. So we're seeing that NASDAQ push to these lows over here. Here we go. So now we're seeing it get below the London Asian session lows here. Now that it cleared this low, can the market go and push higher? So I think there's a decent shot at that happening. And just like that, this is how you can kind of see the way liquidity is enticing traders. You see it push. You see it clear lows. So not just this range from London session, but then that Asian session low. As soon as NASDAQ cleared that, off it went. So check that out here. As soon as it cleared that, the momentum started to shift. Same thing here. Now, as soon as it cleared that, Dow pushed just as low as well. Now, it's looking like it might want to push even further to the upside. Okay. Very bullish. So when you think about liquidity and how it functions, you can look at it as if it's liquidity based off of just like recent range, whether it's what just has been building up, or you can look liquidity based out of the overall session. So, when people, traders, just money in general is being pulled in around, for example, like right here, where we saw end of New York, Asian session, London session, and then we spike below. When, at least the way I look at markets is, we're not looking at just one asset. We're looking at the board. The board being, because these all are like pieces, they all move together, right? They're all in unison. So in order for, let's say, Dow or NASDAQ to complete a movement, well, we need NASDAQ to have to be completely set up as well. In order for this next move to happen, we need this to be set up as well. So at least for me, the way that I look at the market and I interpret all of these things, that is essential. Like, every little piece of the puzzle needs to be in the right place in order for the markets to move. So when we think about how money flows here with between Dow Jones, NASDAQ, and S&P 500, in order for, let's say, the move to really happen, the big move, the big push to really go down, there needs to be enough liquidity available for positions to be exchanged, right? Okay, well, if NASDAQ still needs to, let's say, clear liquidity, raid some stops in order to get maximum positions for the market to run, then all of a sudden you may need another push down like we kind of saw here. We may need another push down like we saw here in order for all of the money to be exchanged. So at least that's how I look at it. It's like I don't really trade an asset. I trade the asset class. And understanding the entire, just how it all plays together, that's how I approach it. So sometimes it's a lot easier to note. Other times it takes a little bit more. So for example, even with S&P here, right? We needed to see S&P clear liquidity like it did just there about a few minutes ago in order for the market to have a chance at pushing higher, which it may not. Because all we're doing at the end of the day is we're trading probabilities. That's really all we're doing at the end of the day. It's all about probabilities. There is no guarantees, which is why you have to use your stops. There's no guarantees on that this is going to play out or not. But if you're going to give yourself the best chance, what's helped me has just been keeping in mind the big picture. And at the moment, let's see if this is what it took, if there's enough liquidity swept for the market to run, or if it's still not enough and if we keep pushing lower. That's why when you're thinking about your stops, having your stops below, let's say, like a session low or a session high, can give you a pretty good chance. The one concern I have about the market ripping from here, whether it's NAS or whether it's Dow, is this. So the concern I have is whether the market is going to want to target this over here. This is what I'm curious about. Is the market going to push down to clear these lows before it goes any further? That's what I want to see. So in terms of the textbook mitigation entry model, that already happened. We saw the rejection up to here. It played out like 88 points or something like that. And so cool, it did that. But in regards to the traditional, like a different type of smart money principle, which is just, how the market is inducing imbalances or not, all those things like that. Well, that's just a whole other positioning. So at this point in time, I'd say that we might see Dow actually poke below one more time. I think that's a possibility. But what we're seeing better than anything at the moment is how NASDAQ's holding up here. NASDAQ now has had a much better structure right here. All right, taking a look at that. Dow is still making lower lows and lower lows and lower lows, while NASDAQ is still holding up. So I think we can see the market at this point. Do you need to take a new position or anything? I think it's a little risky. Yes, we cleared the Asian session lows right over there. But, and also on top of that, we are seeing divergence. So Dow is making lower lows. So if there is going to be a good setup, it is with NAS, in my opinion. Based off of current price action. Now, can we have any other angles, right? Are there any other trades here? One thing to understand is the buy, right? So we saw a massive push up here with Dow, and then the market quickly worked its way down as well. So if Dow ends up trading down here and it keeps trading down here, then we may end up having a chance at selling off of this candle. However, if that's not the case, then we'll just have to let the market unfold. So I think a big thing here for us to consider is going to be, which of the two give us more information. Like I was saying, I don't think there's enough evidence to take any new positions here. At least I'm not. I'm chilling. But I would understand why you're looking for NASDAQ just because of the way that the market's holding up, despite Dow still continuously pushing lower. Now, outside of indices, though, I do think we have a pretty good amount of opportunity. So Euro USD looks solid for a setup. And then I'll show you guys a couple other things. The other ones that we want to keep in mind in case the market does keep pushing lower is this. So we'll kind of see how the market holds. If it does break below, then you have, and remember, there was no, since the market already saw the exchange from sellers to buyers here, there wasn't another push for a buy because there was no new mitigation entry. But the other entry that could be solid is one over here. And we're looking at possible plays right there. So now what are we seeing, right? The lows that we had here, we're finally cleared below that. Fantastic. So now, market's pushing below all of that. Here you saw the big push to the downside. So you can see just where market's at, trading at these levels. So I think, let me just go to one screen here. Here you have the last massive sell-off. Buys anywhere in the zone are valid. Now, I think to have a higher probability for a good risk-reward entry, obviously you want to take that a little bit lower. Here we saw a little, you saw the order block, another one, and then the rally. So now that NASDAQ swept that here, right? Now that we see NASDAQ push below this range that I was talking about, tapped right into this little order block. At the same time, we have Dow come into this area right here. So seeing reversals out of the zone, in my opinion, definitely makes sense. And considering that here's where we saw a much bigger movement. This is about 125 points, give or take. I would love to see if the market gives us a bit further of a push down here so that we could get a pretty decent risk reward. So seeing something like that would be great. And then now this is this entry. So this is an official setup that I would take. It's valid to reverse off of the zone that we already see right here. So, and we're already kind of seeing a reversal out of this zone. Despite being able to trade out of this, I would prefer a better RR and just completely miss the setup in case that's what it's going to look like. And it might just keep going and we might just see this thing rip from here. I'm okay with not having that if it meant trading right under the open and having a giant, 120 point stop. I don't necessarily want that, so I'm cool to wait a little longer. And let's see if we get this. So right now we're seeing Dow maybe work its way a little lower. NASDAQ doing more of the same. And then NASDAQ may end up, pushing even further. It's got a couple little moves it can make. A little rejection out of here. If you guys zoom in, you'll see a little order block. And then you got another zone as well where we've seen structure before. So here you go. You see NAS working its way down. Dow kind of slower to push further. All right. Let's see here. All right. So outside of that, we had, perfect. So yesterday's natural gas buy played out here beautifully. I remember it was right at the end of the day, and then once the market opened, it started to rip from here. So did anyone end up entering this once you had, whether if you were CFDs, did you hold over with the swap, or did you guys take this into during Asian session? Let me know in the chat. Now, if this keeps moving upwards, if we keep seeing this push even further, which looks like it's going to, and for perspective, guys, like these last 10 days for me have been hilarious because so many of the quality, like the one that we had right there, I'm getting missed by a bit, and then they're ripping. And then the trades are getting stopped out, the ones that are going to get stopped out, which is fine. And then every once in a while here, we'll get a good, 3R, 4R, 2R, whatever, to kind of balance things out. But what I've noticed and where people make mistakes is that if you might get this for a week, maybe 2 weeks, where like, you're not getting triggered in, and then you go and change everything. And then after that, the probabilities, right? The scale, because, a 1 week or 2 weeks of how market moves isn't everything. It's just a small little like zone of trading, especially doing this for almost 10 years now. So the problem happens when you try to do so much. You keep changing little things because you're reactive to short-term outcomes. And so, if at this point I go, oh man, I'm going to just trade off the open now. And then what happens? Literally tomorrow we'll have a deep retracement entry, and then we'll end up trading the open. And it's like you could have had a much better risk reward, but because you're thinking so much about the recent things, it gets in the way again. So if you took the trade out of the open on this one again, then you are looking at about 100 points up. So if that's your entry model, because I know a lot of you do like to trade off of the open, then awesome. You're at maybe like a 1-to-1-ish right now, whereas I did not. And it looks like this is definitely going to be the mitigation. It's like, I don't know, it needs to go up like 20 more points, and then I classify it as mitigation. So this one here we go. So our two key levels were played out of really well. I didn't quite get the invitation, but that's fine. And Q ran Asian lows. Yep. Let's see. Just take one more shot at buys. I'm going to take one more shot at buys. When was that? When did you say that? A couple minutes ago? Nice. So, yeah, I mean, you guys just saw the reversal here with Dow. Went and did its thing. And let's zoom into the lower time frames. We saw the sweep. We saw the push. And here we're at it now. Now taking a look at NASDAQ. We see NASDAQ also very similarly swept below, reacting really nicely. Okay. Could this turn into a shift in structure? What's it going to look like? Spanked. What were the questions? Headaches. This gives me headaches. Let's see here. I didn't get in, didn't like it. I'm just reading through the chat. For Dow FX side, what does that mean? Dow FX. Mike, what happened to Iovia? I think it had something to do with their court case. They had to like reshift their business model. All right, cool. So now taking a look at NAS, taking a look at Dow. We're seeing price, right? It did that sweep. It reacted, not fully mitigated in my opinion, so I think we could keep pushing further here in a bit. So it's not quite done. We haven't quite gotten that move. So we did get the move up. You saw it trade out of this here, this little OB for NQ. For Dow, as we talked about, trade out of this zone right there. Great. Then the question becomes, can we get an entry? Let's say you missed this one, right? Like me. So, is there still a chance at participating in something like this? Well, we see a nice sweep here. We see a rally. The market comes back. Look at how briefly the market got below and came back up. So in my opinion, there's still not that much demand below 42,800. So if we get a move to the downside over here, I think we could still go higher. Patrick said, just join the free community. Well, it says it's verifying. I'm excited. Nice. Playing this. Are you playing the NASDAQ buy or the Dow? You usually trade NQ, so I'm assuming NQ. Cozy boy. I think we could see. Yeah, I think we could see the. I think we can still see the buys. I think it's gonna be. I think I'll shoot Dow though. Here, like where we have something like this. And then again, this is basically after the market has virtually mitigated, and we kind of withheld here for a bit. Now, these aren't the traditional. This is the mitigation model. This here is now a different approach to a trade. So let me go ahead and delete that. But yeah, I think we can see the market run from here. It's just we're kind of constantly seeing that there's very little demand between indices. So I think indices go bullish from the shot, and then I think we finally can tackle on this liquidity. How are you guys approaching this one here? Y'all take buys? NQ? Okay, perfect. Yeah, and NQ looks good too because of I don't know how you work your stop, but NQ playing right into this imbalance structure, getting a nice rejection right there. Already rejecting 20 points. Textbook. All right, yo, appreciate you guys with the, liking the stream, hopping on here, subscribing. Those of you that are joining the community, shout out to y'all. NQ, nice, cool. I'm waiting on Dow. I think we can push a little bit further down with Dow, and then I'll take a swing at Dow down here, like right there. Again, this is not the traditional mitigation model. This is what I call a shakeout, but I think I'd see one more push down and then make the buy. All right, here we go. Let's see. Usually when we see this sideways movement, at least in my experience, we get to see another liquidity run and then a push to the upside. So I wonder if we get that today. Might not. Will this be the month of me just missing entries? It seems like it. Let's see. The big thing is composure, guys. You want to keep your composure. If you do not keep your composure, you're done for. All right, so natural gas rejection. I heard some of you took that, so amazing. Would love to see the wins in the community. If you did take that, let us know. I want to see it. Now the question is, do we sell, though? So do we sell in here? So let's go ahead and look at the current contracts. So look at that entry. That was beautiful. And this has successfully smacked for a 3.28 risk reward. Now from here, looking at the short, market would have to go up a bit more. And I like the short as well because the market makes a lower low and we have a significant demand over here. So we trade down here for all of the first trading day, Asian session, and it's only until London session where things start to pick up for natural gas. So, yeah, I'm definitely, I still think that this is worth taking a shot at for the sell. And then where exactly maybe would you be looking to short this? Well, here. You can kind of take a look at how previous structure has set up, and that way you can kind of see, okay, where do we have some commonalities? Where do we have previous levels where we just kind of consistently reject from? So whether it's resistance over here, 3.369, or you go a little bit higher. But I think right out of this zone, it looks good. Where we've seen resistance before, I think that's a great place for some shorts here with natural gas. And then in regards to where this trade can go, so you got that set up here. Taking profit with a trade like this looks like somewhere in this imbalance, it looks pretty solid. So we'll see how this moves along. This is where we start to lose a little bit of momentum. This is kind of our first order block. So 1.75R looks okay. And then you see another push down before the continuation over into here. So this imbalance looks like actually a little bit better. So I'm going to go with right around here, 2.22R for natural gas, and then playing ping pong with this idea. Filling the gap was the exit on the buy, though, on natural gas. Gold is running. 3RR on natural gas. Nice. BTC shorts on London, just managing that. Nice, Nico. Got Greg in here. What's up, Greg? 30-second latency today. He's not happy about that. Thank you for doing this interesting session today. And 8 a.m. Central, 9 a.m. Eastern, 6 a.m. Pacific. And NQ with Kevo. Nice. Very nice. Yeah, I mean, this was it. Looks like it didn't give. It played right at the open. It's been the week. The last 2 weeks are just trading off the open and then ripping. So at this point, has this been frustrating? Yes, for sure. Does it mean that I need to go ahead and chase something? No. So, yeah, I was leaning for the buys because Dow was just giving more bullish price action anyways. So even though NASDAQ, I know NASDAQ, the trade for you guys is up. But for me, I wanted a just lower entry, to be honest. Now, however, we have officially mitigated from this zone. So the buy down there, if you took it off the open, then you are now seeing you saw a nice 120 something point move. Okay. Not bad, not bad. Not too shabby. Again, I keep it transparent, so I'm not in this. If we can hold, and let's see, let me get to the 15 second. If we can hold in here, see how we sold off from here, sideways, and balance. So even now, we did a good job of holding price action. We still could get a play from in this area, in this zone over here. Sweeping this sideways movement, this liquidity, and then running. Right now, it's rebalancing this zone. If you take a look at NQ, right, NQ just will push down. NASDAQ's price action has just been more bearish, period. So that's why I stayed away from taking NAS in this example. But not that it can't work out still, but that's just kind of why it's kind of having a harder time pushing forward. Okay, so if we get below this, let's see, I might get into something here. Now, what I wanted to show you guys was Euro. So 6E, Euro USD. For my futures traders, we're talking about 6E here. Gold is ripping. Who's in gold right now? Huge sell-off. So Euro at some point, this is the setup. I'm going to look for a buy over here. And then a take profit. Depending on when and how we work our way up or how we work our way down, we'll kind of see where we go here. But it looks like we can continue our structure to the upside for now. So keep that there. But definitely liking buys here on Euro in the future. That leaves us with, GU as well. Still bullish, but Euro is trading much higher. Then we have USD-CHF that hasn't quite gotten to this area yet where we wanted to go for buys. There it is. And then I know some of you were asking about gold. Gold ripping at the moment. Just absolutely sent it. Wonder if we'll see this imbalance here get filled up. So anyone looking to sell, there was definitely no motive for sales. I think that would be short-sighted. And then in order for entries here, I personally didn't really have any new ones outside of the entry that was over here from last Friday. All right, so now we're seeing Dow push further down. And Q here also still pushing and clearing that liquidity. So I think Dow here is again rebalancing, luring in more of sellers once again. And I think we can see the rejection here. So I took a buy. I literally just took a buy. Now that we've cleared this zone. We got below these lows, got into the imbalance. We had seen support here in the past. And then you see NQ finally cleared this out as well. So we're seeing the clearance of this. This is a 15-second chart. So obviously it's tight around here. But from here, I think we could see it run. So whether it's NQ, whether it's Dow, but now that we've cleared that up, this is, in my opinion, it's because there's just so little demand over here, over and over and over again, and we've finally swept all of Mondays and Tuesdays, or Monday, whether it's New York, Asian, or London. Now we got to rebalance here. We got to mitigate as well. So from here, I think we can see the market rip. And let's see where we can, maybe this pushes us even further. So target could be beyond this liquidity, assuming that we already took care of the lows. And then see if this thing's gonna go. Now remember though, if you are taking any positions, if you're looking to enter the market, before you go ahead and do that, I want you to make sure you're in a neutral state. I want you to make sure that your risk is not to make up for the last trade. It's not to make up for the week or for the month or for whatever your expectations are. So that to me is absolutely essential, because otherwise you're just going to be chasing what you want instead of just what is. Okay. And that's the dangerous place to be. If you're just chasing your desires, it's just going to be more and more of the same. Like you just can't force it through. So right now it looks like NASDAQ's holding up decent. Looks like, let's say Dow is playing into, is in this imbalance, potentially rebalancing. Price action looks better for NASDAQ right now. Like it's just not dropping the way that Dow is. So either or. Indices to the upside, in my opinion, makes sense considering just the overall demand or lack of demand at these levels. So this could be one of those similar to this where it just spiked down just to come back up. So now going over to gold here is pushing beyond all of this. In the future, maybe there is a position for buys over here in this imbalance around 32 to 25. So we might see something nice over there in the future. Silver also pushing along. And then Mexican peso. This is one that I like the sells here. So we see a big sweep. Here's the 1 hour. I think the 1 hour looks nice and clean. Big sweep to the upside. And then we've been trading below here really well. Solid price action over here. So this over here gives a quality confirmation of bearish structure. So whether it's Mexican peso with CFDs, or we go look at futures and we look at 6M here. All right, let's see. 6M, similar. The sweep to the downside, rebalance, just rips. So if we're going to see it here happen over here, we'll see something like this. So for my futures traders, here's the context. Obviously the chart looks flipped. And then for CFDs, it's the other way around. Okay. So we're seeing Dow start to trade out of this zone. So let's see let's see if we get the continuation here. The sell-off was pretty strong. So we saw about 50-something points. Want to see this thing rip at least those 50-something points. From there, then I would move my stop to entry. So I want to see this push another 20 points or so before I start moving my stop. And then let's see what NQ is doing. Maybe NQ is pushing even further, faster. About the same. Okay. So that NQ trade, I think Cozy out here called out, still doing pretty well. And then Dow, same thing with this idea. And so this trade here, I'm looking for this thing to clear above this liquidity into this range. And that looks like a 3R. So obviously we'll see if we get it. That's another story. But we're managing expectations and managing the positions. Okay, so from there, I think, and the only thing else that I have in mind, and this has been lingering in the back of my mind during this session, and it's been Bitcoin. Bitcoin here, our friend Bitcoin, hasn't quite worked its way all the way down to this zone. We saw it's rejecting some of these previous levels of supply from the past. So we're seeing that. But we did see a nice sell-off here during pre-New York yesterday before it ripped. So I wonder if we're going to rebalance at some point here, mitigate, and then go. So that's what I'm curious about at the moment. So keeping that in mind, for sure. Have an alert here. So this Bitcoin buy, I do like at some point. Let's see if we get there soon. We may not get this until later, so which is cool. But we'll see. All right, so right now, Dow still around entry. Nas chilling. Holding up pretty okay. So these are just kind of going back and forth. All right, let me look at the chat here real quick. $102 630. Would I be interested in buying Bitcoin at $102 630? I think that's what I was talking about, right? Depending on whatever data feed you're seeing, but yes, buying Bitcoin after it sweeps this liquidity, playing out of like this level of support prior to it, yes, I like that play. Dow, Gregson, you're in a 15-second long. Nice. Just got a small position on Dow. Looks like I got the right entry. I hope. Let's see. I would love for that for all of us here. All right. Who's in a trade right now and who's stayed off? Who's like, quote unquote, right, sitting on your hands right now? All right. Here. Let's see. All right. This is moving okay. All right, so I'll be right back, guys. I'm definitely going to go take a piss, and I'll be right back. Did we blow our accounts yet? Oh, we're in there. We still made it, huh? I'm watching the market paint its picture right now. Looking for trades, still in, sitting. Okay. I've been sitting on my hands the whole time. I missed the first setup, which worked out for my benefit. Just observing your analysis in the morning. I mean, the first setup played out. The first setup here, at least the exact entry missed by a little bit. For me, the zone, obviously it mitigated the sells to the buys. The second setup, actually literally the same thing. And then this one right now looks like it's our time here. There we go. Okay. All right. Patience, 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 patience. Yes, sir. Okay. So with the way that this is now reversing and reacting, this is already, in my opinion, giving us that mitigation. So we're seeing a nice move, right? We've seen the market push well over 50 points now. NQ is doing a great job as well. And now, of course, NQ is the one that's kind of leading this pump, getting above the previous high within the hour here. So it's moving along really, really well. So reducing risk, in my opinion, I think is nice. Now, something interesting is, okay, let's take a look at NASDAQ's movement, Dow's movement. So Dow here, pushed on up, broke above this high, not above this one here. And NAS is going really, really strong, still moving nicely, pushing on to the upside, probably looking to clear some of this, some of these lows. So if we zoom out a bit, we're seeing NASDAQ is back at around New York open price action. And if we take a look at Dow here is sitting at also right around that New York open. So I think both targeting liquidity up here have a good shot. I'm going to go ahead here and tighten this up. Cool. So yeah, NQ and Dow both moving along really well. Good stuff, guys. The patience has paid, or actually technically hasn't paid yet, but is moving well. BTC 96K. I don't really see that yet. Nah, I don't think we have, right now, there's really not confirmations for a distribution. So I don't really see why we would get a massive drop yet. Obviously, there is rebalancing that can be done. There's things to mitigate 100%. Here's our 4-hour low is sitting at around 93K. So yeah, we have that for sure to keep in mind. But I'm not necessarily convinced that we're going to break through this yet. Here, for example, when we had Bitcoin go and tap 107 and work its way down, when we saw this happen, this didn't even confirm lower lows. This looked like a move on liquidity. Not so much anything else. So I think right now, even us seeing the market drop here with Bitcoin, it kind of played out of these previous key levels, which were 104,500. And it looks like it's rebalancing and wants to continue to the upside. So, no, I'm not necessarily too convinced on that. By the way, with Dow, guys, I did tighten my stop a bit. So I moved my stop up 15, 20 points. So with Dow here, we saw the reaction. Already saw that nice rejection. Seeing that same thing here with NQ. I'm giving myself a little bit of breathing room with Dow. So I have my stop, in case you guys are wondering. I have my stop here. So I kind of tightened it up. Just because right now, looking at price action, I still think they're bullish. However, NASDAQ is holding up a bit better than Dow. So I kind of want to just let this thing do its thing. But reducing risk was definitely important for me. Okay. But yeah, with Bitcoin, I'm not convinced that we're ready to drop or get to 96 in the 90s yet. until we start breaking below these previous lows, and we start to see demand down there. Until then, I'm chilling. So I right now am more leaning towards the fact that we can get all-time highs within the next, 24, 48 hours. And the best thing you can do, not just looking at Bitcoin, but you want to look at the total market caps. Because when you look at total market caps, this is when things get very interesting. So total market caps in general, we're not even near the all-time highs. Like, we're really not even close. The market would still have to go another 14%. Yeah. Almost 15% for us to get there. Just because we don't have the same type of altcoin movement that we've seen before. So we need more of that altcoin. We need that altcoin juice. And if you look at the total market cap right now, it's just moving sideways. The moves to the downside are sweeping below lows, and really that's it. So this, to me, I think, we're more likely to just keep pushing further. And if you look at the daily, the market, I think, can push into some more of these imbalances. So I would say, we're probably pushing towards like 3.5 trillion. That's like the next big target, for me at least. All right, for those of you that are in NQ, I do think tightening your stop to in NQ does make sense, whether it's this low or whether it's a bit further up, because this has just been very good price action. So I think moving up, protecting, reducing risk definitely makes sense here. So going into the crypto side of things here. The other big thing you guys want to keep in mind is the dominance. So how much is Bitcoin dominating versus the overall market? And it's starting to push up again aggressively. So this here is another sign that Bitcoin, as much as we thought, is this it? Remember, we actually talked about this about maybe a week ago, almost exactly. I wanted to see, and by the way, with Dow, guys, I think we're going to break below this little sideways movement, and then maybe we see it run. Yeah, this right here. As soon as it was squeezing, I was thinking, okay, I think we're going to maybe sweep below and then see the push. So right now, looks like we played right out of this. See how we were squeezing? Perfect. Swept below. Now looks like, again, this is taking its sweet time, guys. So whenever this decides to make its move, there's a really good chance it's going to be explosive. Like, it's just gone. And Q just rebalanced as well, right into here. So looks like that was the last push down. So if you waited to play out of that order block, then patience is definitely gave you the best entry possible, which was right into this bad boy. From here, though, now that we've pushed all the way down, same thing here with NAS. The stops, in my opinion, are you're able to protect your money even more if you want to. Otherwise, just, keep it there. But now that we already rejected here, I think we'll be good. I think we'll be good to go. All right. So going back to Bitcoin dominance, we might still see Bitcoin make another high with its dominance, like beyond what we just saw a couple days ago. So when over here we had May 7th get above and then come crashing down. The problem that I'm having with this move is that basically Bitcoin dominance came all the way back. And then now this didn't really stay down here for too long. We're back up again. So Bitcoin might keep pushing forward. And that means that we still might have better chances at altcoins going absolutely parabolic. So we rejected over here. The next area the next kind of key levels that I think we can play out of are seeing the market push into that 66 beyond. So as of now, I think Bitcoin might keep leading the pack with this move, but slowly and surely, all coins are coming in. And another thing you guys can always do if you're just curious, you can take a look at the Bitcoin and ETH chart. That definitely gives you some pretty cool perspective. So, like for example, ETH BTC right here. ETH BTC. We started to get above here, and we traded over here for a handful of days. So right now, we might just go a little bit lower before this thing goes again. As we're seeing, so I'm still here watching Dow do its thing. We're back above entry. There you go. So now I'm reducing my risk more. So now I'm tightening it up again. And then looking at NQ, moving up as well. So in the way I'm managing this is once it's been rebalanced, once we've mitigated, like I just move my stops. So right now, that's what we just had. My stop is now at basically a half R. And in this example, the reason I'm doing it like this and not going instantly break even is just because we're just squeezing so much. So a lot of times we can just see the market, make these spikes and then make the move. So there is a small chance or there's just a chance, I guess, in general, that it wants to take these lows and then run. So if you want to give yourself that opportunity, then you do it, or you bank on, okay, this was the rebalance, this closed out the block, the sell for a buy. So if it's going to go, it's going to go now. So that's why you would have your stop there versus, keeping it still open. So it's really more of a choice on your overall perspective if you need that space for this to play out or not. And then looking at NQ over here, NQ, similar thought process. So when you're thinking about your stop loss management, the question basically becomes, is it worth me taking a minus 1R, minus 0.9R, minus 8R, whatever, to allow this to move? Because the market's been moving sideways like this for 40 minutes, once this makes up its mind, it's going to be an aggressive move, whether it's down or whether it's up. So the fact that the demand here is just so, it just doesn't seem like it wants to stay here every time it comes down. I'm leaning on that we have a good chance of this seeing bullish explosiveness. So I'm okay. I'm willing to see it because as we get more and more information, what we're getting is more and more confirmation that the volatility is going to be big. So worst case, you have your minus 1R or minus half R or whatever. Or maybe you're already out, which is also good, which is fine. Best case, the market finally expands and then it just fucking sends it. So, that's kind of the ways in which you can go about looking at this. And then for the NQ, you're getting some good higher lows over and over and over again. All right. I'm going to just stay here until we kind of see more decisive movement. I don't think we'll take too much longer. And what I want to look at is just a few stocks. So the losers of the day so far have been some of the bigger ones like Nvidia, T-Mobile, Amazon, just down a couple percentages. And then I did yesterday is I bought some more Nike, which, oh, nice. We're up about 2% today. Is anyone still holding Dollar General with me? I know it sounds so random, but for those of you that were with me in the Go Live days, last year, last year, I called out Dollar General, and it's been on a rampage. We bought Dollar General under 70, and it's at $102 right now. And we went all the way back to like 20, I think 17 or 18 to find our entry. So we took a position, off of 2017 price action, and then, it's rebalancing really well. So I know some of you are in this with me right now. Let's see who's got this one. All right, looks like the chat, y'all are like, let it cook. I think I should have the, where are the ideas? They always change things here, and I can't even remember anymore. Yeah, like your ideas, it used to be on the right. I think they're somewhere else now. Let's see, profile. Whatever, man. All right, anyways, so that's running, and then took a Walgreens buy as well. This is doing okay. A lot slower than expected, but moving on up. I think we're up like 30 or 40%, maybe a little more. But yeah, I picked up some Nike. Where's Nike here? And then if you guys, anyone have any stocks I'm going to look at, just let me know. But yeah, I picked up some Nike here. Some more. I think this is at just hilariously low levels. I can't see Nike not really making it here. So picked them up around 50 and change, and then a little bit yesterday at like 61 or 62. And then we've seen Nike's highs at 178. So I think we have a comfortable, just about 100% growth here. And I plan on holding this, so I want to see this up into the 150s and above. I think we can get some good growth here. But yeah, we got a long way to go. And this played out of the imbalance from 2017, similar to what we were seeing with Dollar General. The other ones that I was looking at were just some AI stuff on the actual hardware. Dog is good. Dog is lit. I'm just holding Coinbase. Yeah, Coinbase entries were fire. Coinbase is, right now, it's probably what really makes us smile the most. Yeah, I got some Etsy still as well. But Coinbase is definitely ripping. And we talked about with Coinbase, entries at New York, basically, not New York, elections. Elections was kind of the focus, and did break below those as well into some of this imbalance. But for me, getting some elections prices and below was my target. So from like 180, it was like 190 and below is kind of what we were looking for. So seeing that play out, and it got even lower. The lower, the better. And then obviously these charts move pretty similar to, what you see with Coinbase. NAS and profits. NAS is doing its business, huh? Let's go. Dow pushing. NAS ripping, clearing this liquidity. At this point in time, guys, if you're not protected, definitely protect that money. All right, guys, so starting to see these move along really well. Well done, folks. Well done. Let's see. Where's NAS? And here's Dow. Yeah, NAS clearing this liquidity beautifully. And even here, right, we got all of this as well. I think there's a shot that this wants to lure in some sellers. So we may even see a little rejection here and then just blast through this. So you held on. You held on tight. You got to now enjoy some of the expansion of this move. If you're in Dow, you're up at least 50 points on a maybe roughly 1-to-1 RR. Maybe a little bit less. No, maybe a little bit more, my bad. And then with NQ, depending on where you guys took this, I think you guys took an entry like right over here-ish, if I'm not mistaken. So even with that position, I think this was Kevo's setup, something like this. You guys are looking good over here as well, around 1.7. Kevin, what's your exit? Thoughts on Target? I fucking hate Target. I hate George Soros. Nah, bro. Target can just burn. But, you know, pretty hypocritical because I'm sure Nike is not the most conscientious company or anything either. So, but yeah, I'm just really anti-George Soros. Like, I really don't like that guy. The source of a lot of really messed up things in this world. So I have zero interest in buying this. If anything, I'd love to short this just over and over and over again. So that would be awesome. That's really the goal. The goal is to gain so much capital so we can short these anything Bill Gates related to hell. But that's a war that probably doesn't end well, to be honest. Do we really have anyone in this world that like goes on that it plays that game, you know, kind of like shorting the like playing against the biggest players, you know? I feel like that's just a road to death, but financially and physically. That's how you go missing, is that what you said? Yeah, I think that's definitely the case. Like what was it, Snapchat CEO? Yeah, you once you Cash App. Oh yeah, Cash App CEO. Yeah, it was wild. But you know, it is what it is. Anyone have any stocks they want to share? They want me to look at while we're just kind of chilling here. Just load a dip on his stock, Mike. Load a dip. Based Mike Nav. Today's session really showed me I need to still work on my emotions. Still in verification phase on my funded. That's good though. Like you want that. You want to experience and just catch yourself in whatever state that you're in. And so I think that's why I love that some of you guys are doing well, whether you're getting funded or maybe you're trading a live account, maybe you are funded, but you're struggling to keep it. You want situations or at least have, let's say, something in your ear. Like being here doesn't even mean you need to trade the way I trade. It can just be, how is this guy managing his thoughts? How is he managing his emotions? How is he processing you know, taking a win or taking a loss? All of those things come in mind. Like, and when you're in the trade, the market's squeezing. Should I just get out? Should I let it run? What should I do? So sometimes it just helps to have narration from someone that's been in the game for you know, a little bit here. But yeah, fuck Target. The thing is, there's so many companies that we could look at and question whether, you know, just the source of ethics and you know, the follow the money conversation. So it gets a little interesting. That's another rabbit hole that I'd love to get into in the future, but we'll see. All right, VTI, Vanguard Total Stock Market ETF. Aritzia? That's the store? Dang, Vanguard's total ETF looks like it's going crazy. So I've never really looked too much at the ETFs, like Vanguards and all these other ones. But how does this really differ from the stock market in general? Is this basically just what their ownership is? Like BlackRock's, etc. BlackRock, etc. Like I've never really gone down the traditional investing route. But I mean, this is just gonna follow basically good old, same old stock market flow, like Dow Jones, S&P. Same thing like QQQ, all these guys. Why didn't you take your buys for Nas? Yo, Broly. All right. I'm going to pull up Nancy's markup. She's got, is this the Aritzia one? Textbook. Oh, it was a buy. You're saying textbook buy. Or there is one. Oh, I thought you were giving me a play. Damn. Well, too late for this one. Damn. Actually, I remember you talking about this one. Did you buy any? Damn. Out of fear, why did you have the fear? What were you scared of? What were you scared of, Broly? You're in control of the risk. Was it before that trade? Did you already lose before? Did you already like what was the struggle? What's the ticker for Aritzia? ATZ what? AF. Okay. ATZ AF. All right. Yeah, all right. So cool. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure at some point this will get back down to like, 260 and then maybe continue, but this liquidity looks like that's what it's gunning for. Fear of failure and losing. Okay. So, I mean, okay, so a couple things here. All right. So, if you're struggling with the fear of failure and fear of losing, we got to backtrack. So, we want to think back to, is this a response to, like, my current state? So, I just have lost multiple times. I just failed in whatever way. Or is it like a deeply rooted thing where, just failure in general, you're scared of failure of losing? And there's like a lot of different things that you can think about with this, but trading in itself, like you have to position yourself to potentially lose. There's no way around it. And I think a lot of traders have to work on this. Like you want to trade without the risk, but you have to. There's no way around it, right? Risk is the game. So you have to just understand that. And then this is where you decide, well, how much is the risk that I want to be taking? Because that's what can just allow you. It alleviates being able to lose, like it alleviates that. So you can lose it over and over and over again if necessary. And then also, what state are you in? Are you figuring things out still? Or are you like, all right, I have my system, I just have to let it run through? So outside of the financial or the risk exposure aspect, the other thing to really consider is it a problem kind of like with pride, where like you don't want to face a loss because of your ego? And why is that? Where is that rooted from? So just a few things to think about. It's obviously a way deeper conversation, but it's one that needs to be had either way. When you buy stocks, you trade like you do with futures. It's a little bit different. I mean, there's just a lot of ways to go about, being involved with stocks. So you can buy and hold them. So if you're building a portfolio, I mean, you're just investing, like you actually have shares. Options is a whole other game, with contracts and like when they expire, and it's just way more things to consider there. You can trade stocks, especially if, with over unregulated or like outside of the U.S. Some brokers allow you to trade them like CFDs. So like just like you would trade on like MT5 or MT4, trade whatever platforms. Yeah. So it just depends. Just depends on your approach here. Okay, so quick recap, and then we'll move from here. For those of you that are kind of racking in and still involved with NAS, anybody, are you also holding this? What are the targets here? I'm curious to see if is fear setting in with this kind of movement in the market. Are you guys gonna hold through this, see it run a little further? What's the status here, folks? How y'all feeling with this one? That's NAS. Dow, obviously the push was it's struggling to really break beyond. So we're kind of seeing a little bit of both, right? Low demand below 42,780, and then despite the highs here, it's kind of struggling to break through for now. So we'll see. I think the liquidity up here is enough of a motive to drive price higher. So I'm not necessarily too concerned. I'm at peace with whatever the outcome is of this trade. Oh, you guys can't see my chart, so well, sucks. I forgot I went full screen. Either way, I'd say you just, at this point, you really shouldn't have much risk, if any at all, with your buys on whether it's Dow or it's NASDAQ. So just let them ride. And then for all of you that have been chilling with me for the last 90 minutes or so, actually almost 2 hours, well, shout out to y'all for being plugged in. I say I have a general system down, but I failed to enter my trades out of fear. I think you could be right about it being an ego thing. But what's the fear? Like, you just don't want to see your stop loss get hit? My ego gets bruised every time I take a loss. My losses aren't even that huge, but when it comes to taking the light bulb trade, I fail to press buy or sell. Yeah, so you got to just remember, like, you don't get paid to be right here. You're just trading probabilities. That's it. You can lose 6 trades, 7 out of 10, and that's fine. Just play the odds. All you're doing is you're just operating with probabilities and risk reward, and that's it. Let it just happen. Just trade. Like, focus on the habit of trading and following it through. Don't give yourself all of this, like, I need to be right. It's just your own expectations. So that's it, guys. Yeah, and it lingers. It could be other things like your other professions. You played sports, schooling, whatever, your parents, whatever their expectations were of you, etc. So, yeah. I mean, that's as much as it's going to come down to. Oh, all right. I know some of you, I don't know if you're still here. If you are, then cool. I'll share this with you guys now. Some of you wanted to know more about the private community, the annual program. So I'll go ahead and drop a link so you can apply. At the moment, we're in no rush to kind of flood that. So we'll schedule something, and then we'll let you know. But we're definitely taking serious kind of who we're working with for a variety of reasons. So fill this out, and then you'll be good to go. So apply here. All right. There you go. I'll just pin that. If you want to join the community, it's also up there. Actually, I'll keep this one down here, and then if you want to join the community, the free community, it's at the top. But much love, guys. I'll see you again tomorrow, and make sure you journal everything you just went through. If you took some wins, share in the community, and even if you took losses but you went about the right way, feel free, guys. Hear about transparency and duplication. So remember, keep building your freedom one trade at a time.